All right, folks, it is Thursday night. It is Hunting the Rut Hotline. Hey, folks, my name's Don Bell. You're going to have some questions. We're going to try to have some answers for you tonight. You notice the old seat right there is kind of empty. Old Steve, he's out and about doing other things tonight, and it's a busy time of year for us here. We have shows all over the country. Just got back from Tennessee, and so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to answer your questions. They're pointing to me in there saying, look at that thing sitting in the chair there. Okay, folks, look. We're going to have questions. It is the last Thursday night. Can you believe this, in June? Folks, we're half of the year is fixing to be gone. Next week is the 4th of July. And so people are already all over the country, but certainly down here, people are getting ready to already start planting that summer crop for fall and getting ready for food plots and fields where they're going to put food plots in to plant to hold these deer. Now, so what we've been talking about since January, since season ended, has brought us to this point. We are chronologically going through the year in the life of a whitetail, and if you're watching this show, and folks, listen, you got time, get on the phone, call your friends and say, listen, you need to call in, hit this link, and listen to what we're asking. So it's not just what we're saying, it's the questions that you're asking, and you always get the answer to the question that you ask. And this time of year, the questions are really starting to funnel as everybody's kind of thinking about now. So, summer's well in the way, but after the 4th of July, all hunters are looking toward fall. So tonight, stay tuned. We get back, we're going to kick this bad boy off. We're going to catch up on some stuff and take those callers. We'll talk to you in just a second.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt.
Repel and kill the bugs that bug you most with the all-natural 100% deep-free BioShield.
You've waited your whole life for this moment. Don't spoil your opportunity because of poor preparation. Keep your optics clean and fog-free for a clear shot every time. Fog Zero.
That was close, wasn't it? All right, folks, we're back. It's amazing. It is June, last Thursday night of the year. Folks, that means a lot of things for us here and for me in particular. For the past nearly 30 years, July kicks off for me doing seminars. We do what we call Hunting the Rut Hotline. And literally not Hunting the Rut Hotline, but Hunting the Rut Seminar. And what we're doing, used to do in the show, what we do in that seminar is that we systematically, and they're fixing to start showing some stuff on the screen here with some of the dates and stuff and where we are around the country. We're literally all over the country. If you'll look for a dealer near you and a state near you, and for some reason that we're not doing a seminar somewhere in America near you, all you've got to do is have your local dealer call us, and then call us Monday through Friday and inquire about us coming in doing a seminar. This schedule, as you can tell, is pretty full. It fills up real quick. As you see on the map there, these are seminars, and I think this is, I'm not exactly sure how far it goes through, but we do them and start in July, August, September, October, and even go into some into November, sometimes all the way up to Thanksgiving. These seminars are excellent. These on the screen is through, I believe, September the 15th. So that will start changing, and that map will get fuller. We just don't put them out any further than that to you. If we were to put them all up there at one time, it'd be hard to distinguish where they are in the town where you are. But if you're near this is a great seminar. It is a Hunting the Rut seminar. We literally take you through what deer are doing For instance, I think the first one coming up is in Weaver, Shelby, where's that at? Weaver, huh? It's in Pennsylvania, and Weaver Store. And those are you up in Pennsylvania. We're going to start July saying what deer are doing that day in Pennsylvania, and then we're going to take you all the way through hunting season in that town, talking about what deer are doing from that day all the way to the end of season. Now, it is a very short synopsis of what deer are doing, and it's very chronological. That way you can remember what we're doing in an hour there, we're kind of bringing out in a longer form 52 weeks a year here. But what we really specialize in there at that store is hunting pre, peak, post-rut. And folks, it's a real good seminar. You'll be able to ask questions. And hey, you'll also get a chance to register to win a free, every year we give away a 3-day, all expense paid Alabama deer hunt. And some of you old boys up in Pennsylvania, as we're coming up, you'll certainly want to come down here and shoot some of these Alabama deer. So, okay, folks, what we're going to do, we're going to get started here. Tell your dealer to call us, and if we've got any dates left, we'll be glad to get to them, or they can start booking some for next year. And we're serious with that, folks. It's strictly on a first come, first serve, sort of like our standing estrus is here. Okay, let's see. We're going to first question is we're going to take a Facebook, and it's from Joey Anderson from Bismarck, North Dakota. Again, I always try to bring to your attention, please note all the diversity of where these people are calling in from, and also where they're emailing from or Facebooking. It literally represents that map that you saw just a few minutes ago. Joey Anderson asks, from Bismarck, North Dakota, what do you believe is the best all-around deer hunting gun? Well, we were talking about this before the show. You know, probably the number one most annually number one bought or held gun in America for deer hunting is probably a 270. Now, having said that, being that Joey is in a 270 is a flat gun, so it would still be an excellent gun for up in North Dakota. But having said that, now, Joey, I just bought a 243, and so you know, it is a flat shooting gun. I'm not looking for knockdown. I'm looking for placement. And a 270 is one of the reasons it's all around gun. You not only have the placement, but you also have that punch to it. So it really depends on where you are, but Joey, probably the 270 is a general rule. 30-06 is out there, but there's several are growing, but probably the number one out there is the 270. All right, I believe we got a telephone caller coming in. We do. All righty, you got Don Bell. Who we got?
It's Pat Gilfillan.
Gil, first name?
Pat.
All right, where are you from?
Cloyne, Ontario, Canada.
All right, I knew that accent couldn't be. You're not down here in Alabama, are you?
Okay.
Hey, what kind of question you got for us tonight?
Well, we're a couple of us up here just wondering about how to get them big old bucks, evading them from getting shot every year when you're out hunting alone.
Are you bow hunting? What time of year are you bow hunting?
Rifle.
Rifle? Are you in the peak of the rut? What province are you in?
Ontario.
Ontario. Are you hunting private land?
No, crown land.
Okay. Well, look, you know, if you're rifle hunting, the difference between bow and gun obviously is one's close and one's at a distance. You know, you can reach out there and touch him like AT&T with a rifle, but nevertheless, no matter what you shoot him with, you're still trying to shoot a good deer, a good buck. Do you have the advantage to be able to scout this piece of property? In other words, do you hunt it year after year?
Yes.
Is it?
Scouting it and hunting the same area year after year.
Have you taken some good deer off this property?
Yes.
Well,
I've taken some good average deer, yeah.
Well, you know, look, you know, your average deer, you know, we dream about it in Alabama. I mean, really. I mean, so, you know, you just have the genetics. You have it there where we have a lot of deer. We have more deer per square mile anywhere in America. in Alabama. But you know, we've got places in America, you know, Wisconsin, Kansas, Iowa, Illinois, certain places that's producing some good quality bucks, but right off the get-go, you're ahead of us simply because of the genetics and where you are. Is there very much pressure on the property?
Very much what?
Pressure. Is there a lot of hunting going on, or are you the only ones hunting it?
No, I'd say no.
Okay, well then you got a good thing going on. Do you use any kind of scent, or do you grunt, or do you do any rattling?
Yes, yeah, I use a little bit of scent. I was using some, what do they call it now? I can't even think of the name of it right now.
Urine?
Yeah, it's urine, and I was been rattling and grunting too.
When you're rattling and when you're grunting, what kind of scent were you using? Were you using estrus, buck, doe?
I was using buck when I was rattling.
Okay, good, because that's what you should be using.
Yes, I seen that foam stuff that you advertised there. I was interested in trying that out too.
Now the foam, the advantage of the foam, well, the advantage of Top Secret, and this is not a Top Secret show, you know, it's sponsored by Top Secret, which we're proud of. What makes Top Secret totally different than everybody else is that Top Secret's single urine, no oxygen. You've ever heard of Tinks? Tank 69? All right, I bottled that for years. Code Blue?
Actually, now that you mentioned that name, that is the one that I was using. That's the name I was trying to think of.
Sure. Tinks, I bottled that for years. I used to bottle 10 drums a day. That's 70,000 bottles a day. And if you look here, when you go to the store and you opened up that bottle, what color was it when you poured it out?
Like a lighty
brown
color sort of.
Yeah. And the reason for that is that all urine, when voided, is sterile. It should be a clear yellow. That's the reason you see nuts on TV drink their urine. If you know, of course they know what I'm about to say, but if you were to go outside and urinate in a clear jar tomorrow morning and watch it in the course of the day, your urine will start off clear, and as the day progresses, it's going to start changing color and smell. The only variable to that, and it's your urine, is oxygen. So dark urine tells another animal that you were there, but you're not there now. Clear yellow urine, oxygen-free, says a deer's there now. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So dark urine is ammoniated urine. It's the same thing if you're trapping or if you're, you know, whatever you're doing, clear urine's better because it tells the urgency that the animal is there. Give an example. There's nowhere in North America that you want to be any colder than where you live, sitting up in a tree in Ontario and trying to wait on a cold, rainy day and trying to shoot a buck until they have urine out that says that you're not there now, you were there. You want to be urine's poured out and it says that you're there now. That's what makes Top Secret different. Now, having said that, once you open ours, it starts changing, oxygen hits it. So we have a device called a scent saver system. Are you familiar with that?
No.
All right, it's can you see the screen?
Yeah, I just gotta go back to the room there.
That's okay. Well, let me show you. Guys, is that good enough in there? All right.
Okay, I'm looking at your screen now.
Okay, you see this? This is like a pump. See it? All right, and then what this is a bottle with a plug. It's called a scent saver system. And what you want to do is you take your scent, your bottle of scent. Can you see the color of that? You see how yellow that is?
Okay, I'm just the screen's just a little bit behind.
Yeah, that's no problem. That's no problem. But when you see it, you'll be able to see how yellow it is.
Okay.
All right, and you can let me know when you can actually see it. But it's real yellow. It's never been opened. But if I opened that red cap and closed it tomorrow morning, that urine in that bottle, same urine, would be brown. Because what I've done is I've introduced oxygen to it and it's going to ammoniate it. That's what you buy on retail shelves. It's already ammoniated. Ours has never seen oxygen. It's
I see the color yellow in the tall bottle you're showing now.
Big difference in it. Now, this is what happens when you open it. This is what happens when you open it. and close it. See the difference in the color?
It's coming to me.
Yep, that's the difference. One is clear, one is brown. You want to use the clear one. Now,
Okay.
in order to open it, in order to use it, you got to open it. Makes sense, don't it? All right, so you open it, and when you do, you pour the urine in this other 3-ounce glass. It's got a vacuum plug in it. You plug it, and then you pump it out with a pump, 2 or 3 pumps. You can hear it. Now, you can't over pump it because it'll click. You can hear it click. Hear that little metal clicking sound? That tells you that it's full. In other words, all the oxygen's out. Listen to this when I pull it. You hear that pop?
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to do that. You don't want to do that in the woods. So you pump it out 2 or 3 times. No oxygen. It's got a little nipple up on the top of it here. Can you guys see it in there? See right here? You can push or pull it in any direction. And when you push or pull it, it's going to release it. So listen. It'll go shh. So when you open it, what you do is you open it, you use it, you plug it, and once you plug it, you just simply pull your pump out, 2 or 3 pumps, no oxygen. So for the first time in the hunting industry, you can start with no oxygen, clear yellow urine, and you can bring it all the way down and use the entire bottle all the way down with a scent saver system, it'd still be yellow. That's with the liquid. If you're talking about foam, which is what I'm showing you here. By the way, that 3-ounce bottle I just showed you retails for $14.95. The 8.
I'm trying to find out a store close to me that sells it.
Yeah, you can call customer service and they can tell you exactly where you can get it. You can go to. You ought to be able to check. You can check Walmart of Canada. But you can certainly call us. And of course, if you can't find a dealer near you up there, you certainly can hit the website or call customer service, and we can tell them where a dealer is near you. Or you certainly can hit the website. We have it in 8-ounce foam. It retails for $19.95. Has 8 ounces. This foams. We're the only one with the foam. And when you foam it, you pump it. It's the first time it sees oxygen. You do not need the scent saver with the foam. But I want to show you something. If you take estrus in one hand, and I know there's a delay, you'll be able to see this. If you take estrus in one hand, and you take buck in the other, estrus and buck, and you walk into your stand, you foam buck urine, 15, 20 steps, you foam estrus on the ground. Just walk. Estrus, buck, all the way into your stand. And what you've got now is a buck trailing a doe to your stand. Now, when you get up in the tree and you use a grunt call, you do use a grunt call, right?
Yep.
All right? When you get up in the tree and you grunt, what you're literally doing is you're telling another buck's tending a doe. 95% of all grunt calls is a tending grunt. And so what I just did, you're the buck and you're over behind me and you hear that. Deer's got 3 defenses: ears, eyes, nose. The most important is his nose. When you grunt, grunting is an infringement. Because what you just told that buck, that there was another buck tending a doe. Whose doe? His doe. So grunting is an infringement. So it's very important that you use buck urine. And you use buck urine every day of the year. What's the opening day you bow hunt? You bow hunt too?
Yep.
All right, opening day what? Late September?
Our opening day for bow is October 1st.
Okay, October 1. Every day of hunting season, you can use buck urine. It's going to start good and it's going to get better. By the way, grunting is an infringement. All grunting and rattling does, in simplicity, is puts a deer downwind. Because when you grunt, you're telling him another buck's tending a doe. Well, whose doe? His doe. Where? In his bedroom. So he circles downwind. He does that because he wants to smell what he's hearing. The reason a lot of people, you probably got friends that grunt and never see a deer. And the reason for it is A, they're not using scent, or B, they're using estrus instead of buck. So that'd be like going home smelling Old Spice tonight and flip the light on and see your wife. You're not looking for your wife, are you? You're looking for Old Spice. And so it's an infringement. Same way with rattling. Rattling is an infringement. Do you use horns or a rattling bag or artificial?
I was using the bag, but for the last couple of years now, I've been using horns.
Well, man, I'd paint them suckers orange. You can do the same thing with a bag. In fact, do you use a climber or a lock-on?
As in horns, you mean?
No, I'm sorry, in a tree stand.
Oh, no, actually,
and the reason I ask that is...
Tree stands, one of the tree stands I use is a permanent one built up there, but I'm mostly ground.
Okay, yeah. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all, especially gun hunting. But the reason I say that is that sometimes with a climber, as you go up, it'll go click, 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 click as you go up, and you'll have a buck run in on you. Because all they're doing is coming to that clicking sound. A clicking sound will get a big buck in just as quick as bighorns will. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Your grunt call, if you were to ask, and tomorrow at work, you ask everybody you see that hunts, that uses a grunt call, and you ask them this question: do you want your grunt to sound like a little buck or a big buck? Which one do you think they'll want their grunt to sound like?
My opinion, I always thought they'd want it to sound like the big buck coming into...
Right. Now watch this. You come home tonight after a ball game and you walk into your master bedroom, the lights are out and you smell Old Spice and you flip the light on. Do you give a rat's butt if you find Pee Wee Herman or Superman? It doesn't matter.
I prefer to find nobody.
That's my point. Well, if you got a preference, yes. But it doesn't matter if it's a teenager or if it's a grown, mature man. It is not who, but where. You see what I'm saying? And so by putting buck urine, give you an example. You could go to, you familiar with Old Spice cologne, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you go to the store tomorrow morning and you open up a bottle of Old Spice cologne and you're smelling it. A guy walks by. I bet you don't turn around and knock him upside the head, because if you do, we're going to get to watch you on Fox News down here in Alabama with some guy up there in Canada knocking somebody upside the head smelling Old Spice. You're not going to do that. You're not mad. But let you go home 6 hours later and walk into your master bedroom and smell it. Now you've been out of shape. Now why? It's the same stuff. It's just 6 hours difference. Same smell. Again, it's not what you smell, but it's when and where you smell it that makes a difference. And so
That makes sense.
as the bucks start in pre-rut, they're in bachelor groups. So when you put buck urine out, any buck's coming to it. They're not mad. Use the same buck urine at the same buck just before the peak of the rut. Now he's mad. Why? Because you got it at his master bedroom. So in order, we're kind of going around, but your question was, how do you kill that buck, a good buck there? There's no difference in hunting a buck in Manitoba, Canada, or Ontario, or North Florida. A whitetail is a whitetail is a whitetail. They got three defenses: ears, eyes, nose. The only difference is topography, lay of the land, and pressure. They got the same instincts. Yours is bigger deer, more dense woods, less pressure, as a general rule. Some of them deer up there is just crazy. Where we have smaller deer, and there's places, in fact, in South Alabama where I live, there's places that, I could take you and you'd think you'd be lost, in those river swamps. But does this make sense what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes
I watched like the one hunting show. I've seen some of the shows there that they showed some of the spots down there where you're talking about, like that river in
the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we can put you where You can't hardly see your hand in front of your face. And when you do that, where we live is very, very, in Canada, certain places, Canada is just like anywhere else. It's, it's thick in places. But what they call big timber, you can see a ways. Bow hunting, but down here, it's thick. And if, a deer can walk 10 steps of you, and if you're not on the right trail, you won't see him. So you really kind of have to understand that old boy. And he's very complicated, he's very elusive, but in a lot of ways he's very simple. He's got ears, eyes, nose. The nose is the most important, and it validates the ears and eyes. That's the reason scent is so important. And you're ahead of the game, because a lot of people call in do not realize to use buck urine. Buck urine you use every day of the year. Once he starts chasing does, you don't quit using buck, you just start using estrus with it. That way you got a buck trailing a doe. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
All righty. Well, any other questions you may have?
Well, actually, I had one quick question. Was what would you? We have a little bit of a, I don't know, some guys have call it a disagreement with up here for the rut season, for like your time and your weather, like. Temperature-wise for the prime part of the rut when it's coming on. But down where you guys are, it'd be probably a little bit different. But like our rifle season is basically the first 2 weeks of November up here.
Right, which is October. Halloween to then is peak of the rut for you. Now, I'm gonna make that easy for you. If you're trying to figure out when the rut is, it's the entire hunting season. And you can go make bets with people on this, and I know what I just told you, you're thinking, what? That guy's lost his mind. One of the biggest misunderstood words by hunters is the word rut. What you're talking about is the peak of the rut.
Yeah.
Well, right. But the rut, a whitetail buck is in rut anywhere in North America, be it North Florida or Ontario where you hunt. Once he sheds velvet, biologically that buck is in rut and he can breed. Now, I didn't say there was a doe in. I just said he can biologically breed. Now, so when season opens in Ontario, are they in or out of velvet?
They're out.
They're out, you bet. Guess what? That sucker's in rut. Now, if he's in rut when season opens, that begs the question, well, dang, how long is he in rut? Well, what's the last legal day you can hunt Ontario?
Bow hunting, rifle hunting is just that 2 weeks, and then we have our black powder the first part of December. Bow season, depending on where you are, December 15th, December 30th.
Okay. Do they still have horns?
Yes.
You bet. Guess what? He's in rut. A buck is in rut from the time he sheds velvet to the time he drops his antlers. That's true in Canada. It's true in America. It's true in Florida, Kansas. Anytime a buck sheds his velvet, he is in rut. Now then, we talk about the word estrus. When you see, like right now, if you were you're sitting in your house and you look out the window and you see a buck chasing a doe, you say, hey Don, look at that doe, man, that doe's in what? Most people are going to tell you if a buck's chasing a doe, that doe's in what? Heat. But she's not. The word estrus literally means an animal will stand and not run. Give an example. The rut is broken into 3 periods. That's the whole reason we have this show. It's because most people misunderstand the basics, is that the rut is 3 periods. You got pre, early, peak, post. What most people call the rut is the peak. Now, if you see a buck chasing a doe, have you ever seen a buck chase a doe and a doe's running? Have you ever seen that live or TV or video?
On TV,
Yep. All right.
I haven't seen it live.
Well, you see a buck chasing a doe. Have you ever thought to ask why that doe's running? You know why she's running?
Ready?
That's right. She's coming in and she's not in. The peak, if she was in estrus, she would stand. She'd stand to a teenager or a mature buck. And the only reason the teenager, she literally would allow the teenager to breed her if the big buck didn't come in and kick his butt. Okay? Now, but so the peak of the rut is very simply when the majority of the does where you hunt. Now, I want you to think about the property where you hunt, and this is true for anybody listening. Where you hunt in Ontario, there is a time in which the majority of the does are standing and not running. Okay? That's called the peak. And so those that, in fact, the best time to rattle is just before the peak and right after the peak. Rattling is an infringement. Two bucks are fighting. What are they fighting over? A doe. Whose doe? His doe. So just before the peak, there's only a few in. So there's competition, want to fight over those few. But as in the peak of the rut, they're standing everywhere. Hey, dude, you can have that one and that one. I'm going to take him 10. You know, I'm busy. Get back with me. Now, post-rut, those that didn't get bred during peak is going to recycle, so there's only a few, there's competition again. Thus the reason rattling is best pre and post. It still will work in peak, but it's just more dramatic just before the peak and right after. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
All right. Well, I hope I ain't screwed you up tonight.
You actually haven't. You've actually, I would say, you'd helped out a lot.
Well, yeah, we appreciate you calling. How'd you find out about us?
Actually, through Facebook. I see your post on there all the time, and I answer your questions when you put them in there about, you ask some questions like, would you shoot this deer if it was the end of the season? And, you know, your
well, good.
That's where I found you.
Well, we're glad you called in. It's an amazing thing, isn't it, that we can talk to somebody you never met up in Canada, and we're way down here almost, literally, we're maybe, what, guys, 5 miles to the Gulf of Mexico. So
I know where you are there. I had a friend of mine lived in down there around Alabama for a few years until he moved back home here.
I heard that. Well, listen, we appreciate you calling in. Tell your friends about it.
I'm going to try some of your stuff. I'm going to try to locate it. And
if you can't get it, if you can't find it,
whatever I have to do.
If you can't find it local, tell your dealer that they can get it from one of our distributors, or for some reason they can't get it, you call us. You can call, go to our website. You can order it on the website or call customer service. We'll make sure you and your friends up there in Canada get all the product you need.
Okay.
Send us some pictures. Appreciate you calling in.
All right. Thank you, Don.
You bet. Thank you, sir.
All right. Have a good night.
You bet. All righty, folks. Somebody in Canada, listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break and come back. We're going to do it all over again.
From Don Bell, the founder of Code Blue, comes Top Secret Reserve Doe Estrus, the finest doe estrus ever collected. Top Secret oxygen-free collection process is a complete generation above Code Blue. Our patent-pending collection process means no ammonia and no ammonia smell. At a limited quantity of 12,000 bottles, only 0.1% of hunters will be lucky enough to add Top Secret to their arsenal. Visit TopSecretDeerScent.com today and join the 0.1% Club.
All righty, folks, we're back. Like I was saying, guys, it's always amazing to me. You know, we talked to somebody, we're looking at North Dakota, fixing to do a quick Facebook here from Frank in Wisconsin. Just talked to Pat up there in Ontario. Listen, we hunters are serious about it, and we're strung all over the place here in North America, and this is a place to come and ask questions, and everybody else gets to listen in and benefit from it. And there's really, it's a pretty amazing event how you can do this. All right, we got Big Frank out of Wisconsin. Why do bucks separate and go their own way once deer season opens? During summer, they stick together. Real simple answer to that, Frank, is that once season ends, and where you're in Wisconsin, once season ends late December, first part of January, bucks start getting back together in bachelor groups. The pecking order of a whitetail deer starts then. And what happens is, once they shed the antlers and they grow those antlers back, and when they start coming out of velvet, what happens is the most dominant buck will start breaking out. So they'll start breaking out into bachelor groups, making their own places to live in essence. And sort of like them sharing an apartment together all spring, summer, late summer, early fall, they start the biggest buck, the most dominant buck, which is usually the biggest buck, he goes first, and they start spreading out. So that's the reason why, and it's called, they're in bachelor groups, they come out of the bachelor groups, and they start making early season scrapes, primary scrapes, and secondary scrapes. So I hope that answers your question. Give us a buzz back, and we'll get in depth with you, Big Frank. Appreciate it. All right, I think we got us a caller coming in. We do, in fact. All righty, you got Don Bell. Who we got?
This is Dalton Litzelman.
All right, first name again?
Dalton?
Dalton. Okay, Dalton, where are you from?
I'm from Liberty, Pennsylvania.
Liberty, Pennsylvania. We're going to be up in Pennsylvania in about 2 weeks doing a seminar at Weaver's store. And what's Stanford, Pennsylvania? No, what's the name of the town? Dover, Pennsylvania. Dover. Do you know where Dover is?
Dover, yes.
All right. We're going to be up there at Weaver's store doing a seminar. And hey, how far is that from you?
Probably about 2 hours.
Hey, they're holding a yellow sign up in the window, and they told me that I'm crazy. It's not Dover, it's Denver.
Denver.
Denver, Pennsylvania.
Yes, I know where that is.
There you are. We're going to be there. It'll be on the screen when we're coming up there. About the middle of the month, and we'll do a live Hunting the Rut seminar. If you can, come join us. What kind of question you got for us tonight, Dalton?
I wanted to know how long you should go on a hunting trip when you're going out west for the rut. How long should you go?
All right, for the rut, you're talking whitetail?
Yes.
Now, what do you call out west? How far west are you talking?
Like Iowa or Kansas?
Okay. Anytime you can get in the Midwestern states, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, any through there, Illinois, Kansas, the peak of the rut is almost always historically, the November 1 through the 10th. See, we're scheduled to go up in north of Pike County in Illinois, and we try to get up there every year, between the 1st and the 10th. But historically, it's going to happen in the Midwest during those 2 weeks, those 10 days, as a general rule. Have you got your hunt booked up out there?
Yes.
What state you going to?
Next fall, I'm going to Heartland Lodge in Illinois.
All right, Heartland. Is that in Pike County or Jackson?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it seems like I've heard of that lodge. I think that's a real good lodge. You'll enjoy it. You bow hunting?
Yep.
Oh yeah, you'll enjoy it. Have you ever hunted out there before?
No, I go with my uncle every year. We go out to Ohio. He has a lease out there that we hunt on.
What county are you hunting in Ohio?
Adams County.
Are you north or south of Columbus?
South.
Oh, okay. Do you ever go? Is that close to Hockin County?
I think so. We're like a half an hour from Cincinnati.
Okay, yeah. I mean, listen, anywhere in Ohio's good, but when you get down south of Columbus, in and around Hockin County, there's some good bucks in there. I mean, there's a lot of bucks coming in a lot of good places now, because of all the management. Iowa has always been good. Illinois up around Pike, north in those counties in and around Pike are great. Ohio, Kentucky, anywhere from I-65, 2 or 3 counties from Elizabethtown, 2 or 3 counties either side of I-65 there's great. So there's a lot of big bucks coming out of there. And I want to tell you something, have you ever hunted Wisconsin?
Nope, I haven't been out there yet.
Buffalo County, look it up, Buffalo County, Wisconsin. If you go to the record book, you're going to see as many or more Boone and Crockett's come out of Buffalo County, Wisconsin, and they've been coming out of there for years. All these other counties are just getting a lot of hype, and they're good for good reason. But this management on these deer are getting big. You'll have a big time. Do you use any kind of scent?
Yeah, I used Tinks before, but I switched to Top Secret last year. And it worked really good for me this year. I got a big 8-pointer.
There you go. Send us a picture. We'll post it on the website. It is amazing. It's simple. Top Secret is single urine, no oxygen.
It worked perfect. I mean,
yep.
I just put it out, and it wasn't a half an hour after light. He just came cruising.
Yep, and it tells the deer, what's amazing about it, Dalton, is it tells the deer, I don't know if you were hearing the conversation with the guy that Pat just called out of Ontario, Canada, But, you know, the yellow urine says the deer is there right now. The dark urine says the deer was there. And everybody else's urines are dark, and the reason for it is ammoniated. Oxygen ammoniates urine. So Top Secret says the deer is there right now with you. So take that with you. What time of year are you going out there to hunt?
Next fall?
Next fall? Well, yeah, if you can book a hunt, ideally. Now we're both.
We're going right at the beginning of November.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect. I mean, we're going and we bow hunt, and you use a compound bow?
Yep, I shoot the Matthews Creed XS.
There you go. You'll have a big time. Get you some, send us a picture. But yeah, if you can book it anytime the first 2 weeks in November, you're spot on. And if you had to come down to some days, I'd get it as close to the 5th, 6th, 7th in there. But historically, it's going to happen. And listen, the word rut, the estrus, the peak of the rut is when the majority of the does are standing and not running. Historically in the Midwest, that's going to be the first through the 10th. You come south to the southeast, and the peak of the rut is more elongated. It goes over a longer period of time, and it's not as pronounced vertically, straight up and straight down. It's just simply because in the Midwest, the weather is going to make it happen. Down here, it's more elongated. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
All right.
My uncle has an outfitting business, and he's the one that got me into all the hunting and everything out west.
Well, dang, man, that's a good end. You ought to be able to get...
Have you ever heard of it? It's Beech Ridge Outfitters.
Beech Tree?
Beech Ridge Outfitters.
And what state are they in?
He lives like 15 minutes from my house.
Okay, up in PA.
Yep.
Now, Liberty, what part of the state are you in? Central, east, west?
Central.
Okay, well, yeah, you're. I don't think you're that far from Denver then, because I think it's. But yeah, guys, can you post that back up on the screen there, where we're going to be the dates on that's the first seminar of the year. Can you write it down and show it to me? I can't see that right there on that far, but it's what's the date on it, Shelby? July 24th, and July 24th, and we're going to be at Weaver's July 24th, and it's Weaver's store in Denver, PA. Come over. We'd love to meet you.
Yeah, I'd love to be there.
Hey,
I might make it out there.
And bring your friends. You'll get a chance we give away a chance to win a free hunt. We give an Alabama deer hunt away. We do one hunt a year, and everybody gets to register, and then at the end of the season, we'll draw out for a winner. So you may not only get to go to Illinois, but you also may get to come to Alabama. So get you a truckload of folks and come over and see us, and remind me that I talked to you on the show.
All right, I will.
All right, thank you so much for calling.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Dalton. Tell your friends to watch.
Okay, I will.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All righty, folks. It's amazing. Look, we're going to take some quick Facebook questions here. Jane Wannette from Albany, New York. Does every buck have a different and unique smell that other deer can decipher? And the answer to that is yes. Deer put off scent just like any other animal or any human, and that's the reason hound dogs can run. Like the two guys right now that's up north, I'd say that you ought to be able to find them. They need to get some of these bloodhounds from Alabama and send up there and find them two cats. But every human puts off their own scent. A deer's no different, and a deer can tell one deer from another. So the answer to that is yes. And the change of the urine, it's terrible because I'm talking to a lady here. If someone were to take their urine and smell it every day, it's going to vary from day to day. And there's a lot of reasons. Depends on what's going on in your body, your system, and what you're eating. How much water you have, how concentrated it is. So there's a lot of things can affect the smell, and which will also affect the individual deer's smell. So the answer is yes. And good question, Jane. Give us a buzz. We'd love to make that a segment on the show. All right, guys, we got time for a few more. All right, we're going to take an email question. Is there a particular time of the year that I should use your product. Absolutely, year-round, 12 months a year, 365 days. You ought to be using buck urine once season opens. Use buck urine every day of the year. Now, folks, listen, that's not a commercial. That's just flat facts. It doesn't matter from the guy that called from Ontario, or if you're down here in Pensacola, Florida, or if you're in Iowa. You use buck urine every day of the hunting season. It's going to start good, and it's going to get better as bucks come into it. So the reaction will be more aggressive as season goes. You grunt with it, you rattle with it. You add estrus once he starts chasing the does. So absolutely. Next email question. How many times can you hunt one stand before a deer patterns you or knows the stand is there? Now, that is a relevant question. He won't pattern you if you shoot him, if you kill him rather, but he will pattern you. Guys, look, think about it like this. Sometimes we overthink it. We're top of the food chain. We're the top predator. You got to think like a predator. You know, that we're going in on weekends and hunting these deer, or during the week when you're off. That deer is trying to stay alive 365 days a year. And he's not thinking predator. I mean, he's not thinking man trying to shoot me with a gun or a bow. He's thinking predator. He's thinking coyote, you know, or something that's going to get him or her or that fawn. So they're just trying to stay alive. So if you spook a deer, then depends on how and what spooked him. Was it smell? Was it a sound? Did the deer see you? Those are all kind of things, and also what time of year that you do that spooking too. You know, I'd rather spook a mature buck than I had a mature doe. A buck, you can spook a big buck and he'll bolt and go out there and stop, because he don't want to run into dangers. In other words, you fire a gun, boom, he breaks and runs. He's not going to go too far and he'll stop. And because a buck don't want to run into danger, he wants to know where it comes from. You spook a doe in a tree stand, and that sucker will blow coming in, and she'll stand there and stomp and blow, trying to tell everybody in the world that you're up in that tree. Now, she doesn't know you trying to shoot her. She just knows something's out of whack. That's her house, and all of a sudden there's a sound in the attic, and she don't like the sound in the attic. That's what you got to understand. It's their house. They live there every day. So, yes. Best. How many times can you hunt a stand? You hunt it. You may hunt it forever, and never have a deer pattern you. But know this: if you got a good buck, the best chance to kill him is the first time you go in. Every time thereafter you go in, you're reducing the opportunity to kill him, because you're also educating not only him, but the other deer around you that may blow you while you're trying to get to him. So he's over there, the doe blows you over here, and he hears her stomping and blowing, and you can't see the doe, and now that buck's, he's tailed her. So you're not just spooking him, you're spooking other game around it. So take that into consideration as well. Okay, well, let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll take a few more questions. Be right back.
From Don Bell, the founder of Code Blue, comes Top Secret Reserve Doe Estrus, the finest doe estrus ever collected. Top Secret oxygen-free collection process is a complete generation above Code Blue. Our patent-pending collection process means no ammonia and no ammonia smell. At a limited quantity of 12,000 bottles, only 0.1% of hunters will be lucky enough to add Top Secret to their arsenal. Visit TopSecretDeerScent.com today and join the 0.1% club.
Alrighty, folks, we're back. Listen, it's Thursday night. Folks, every week we're here, we're talking about hunting the rut. This show's all about your questions. And as you can hear and see each week, I'm telling you, I've been doing this for nearly 30 years, and I'm amazed how people call in and come in from all over the country, North America, not just America, asking questions, because we all, as hunters, we're hunting one of the most elusive big game animals in the world. I've had people, I went to school with people that, a man that grew up in Africa, His mom and dad were Southern Baptist missionaries, and he just couldn't get over. We were in school in Louisville, and he couldn't get over how you could hunt and what all the big deal was about these white-tailed deer. And he done killed, growing up in Africa, he done killed every kind of big animal there was, until I put him up in a tree that was leaning over a bottom in Muhlenberg County, Kentucky, and he stood up, and when the doe came in, he started to pull, and she stomped. And he said, I came to him, he said, man, I stood there for, it seemed like an eternity. She just stood there, never moved. I said, welcome to hunting whitetail. That's the difference. So this show's all about that. It's understanding all the, not nuances. I told him I was not going to say nuances tonight, so I'm not going to say it. But you get my point. There's a lot of little differences, and we need to know that and understand it as a predator and build up on that to where we can be agile in understanding where we are. A whitetail's a whitetail's a whitetail. Ears, eyes, nose. The only difference is topography and pressure, how you set up on them. Okay. All right. Having said that, we got an email question. Couldn't lead into that any better. What is your favorite ground blind setup during the rut? And do you use a decoy? A ground blind, most people you're thinking, because there's so many variations on blinds out there. There's pop-ups, there's, lean-tos, there's ones that you can, the shields that reflects, which I think is pretty neat. It's like a mirror in front of it, and so it reflects any foliage that's in front of you. So it automatically reflects the ground in front of it. So that's pretty quick setup. Really depends on if you're bow hunting or if you're gun hunting on your ground blind. But to answer your question in a general sense, I would not hesitate. I've killed a lot of deer on the ground. You understand, I grew up, my father had a 5th grade education, and we didn't mount deer. We shot deer and put them in the freezer. And those of you that are old enough remember the buckshot, the paper hull shells. He used to break them apart and put them in on 410, and we'd hunt deer. He'd tear your butt up if you shot a deer and missed the deer, because that deer went in the freezer. So he was serious with it. Killed a minion on the ground because we couldn't afford tree stands. Tree stands cost money. We didn't have camouflage. I remember as a teenager in an Army-Navy store in my hometown, little bitty place, went in, bug-eyed, all this hunting stuff, World War II camo, and the old gentleman, real nice man, he said, now son, you need to buy you some camo where you can kill you a buck. And I distinctly remember standing there thinking, now wait a minute, how many deer have I killed already? In blue jeans. So camo helps. What's happened is the industry developed this, giving us a better, more tools as a predator to get closer to these game. So having said that, really depends on if you're bow hunting or gun hunting. Would not hesitate to hunt on a blind anywhere in the country. In fact, where I believe it was Dalton guys from Liberty, Pennsylvania that called in, Dalton. Where Dalton's from, especially east of there, when you get up into Allegheny County, I mean, you're talking about just an ungodly amount of hunters. The opening day of bow season, it looks like a pumpkin patch. And that's no lie. Anybody who's hunted Pennsylvania knows that. It is crazy. I've actually filmed Pennsylvania bow hunting, shoot a deer down, and somebody come get the deer, us in a stand, and start dragging him off, and we just shot the sucker. And we're filming. It's that many people in Pennsylvania, over 1 million deer hunters. Having said that, if they're in the tree, deer will condition, back to one of the questions they had, you'll condition a deer to walk through the woods doing this because all the pressure danger is up here. So if they're looking up here because of pressure, where's the best place to be? That's right on the ground. So ground blinds are great. You can make them natural. You can whatever fits best for you and that you feel comfortable with getting in and out of the woods with is the best one. Seriously, I don't know that one's any better than the other. It is like pistol holsters. Anybody's got a holster knows that you got a bunch of pistol holsters because various circumstances. So same way with it. And yes, absolutely, I use a decoy. Anywhere in North America you can use a decoy, you want to do it. It's not only effective, it's fun. If you really want to play with his mind, you get you some estrus and put it on a buck decoy. Listen to what I'm telling you. Get you some top secret estrus, get your camera, take one side of the horns off, just one side of the horns off on that buck. That way it shows he's had his butt kicked. And you put you some estrus on it, and you watch them old boys come in there, and you know they're just not quite sure, but they're thinking, man, and after a while he'll walk around and he'll go to looking. You'll see that last look. Is anybody looking? That nose has won out over those eyes, and it's the dangest thing, and you don't want to watch that on film because it will happen. The most important defense a deer has is his nose. It's going to override the eyes and the ears. You don't believe that? Try that this year. Send us some video footage and we'll put it on the air. All right. Guys, how much? Yeah, I got time for a couple more? All right, one more they're saying. All right. Email question. Does the top secret deer scent work before the rut starts and after it ends? The answer is yes. And the reason for it is that deer, guys, look, here's the way to look at deer. 365 days a year. I don't care if he's in urban or, you're in the middle of nowhere. A whitetail buck, a deer, animals communicate with urine. It's scent. It tells them how long one's been there, all of that. And so, same way with trapping. What do people do? They use scent. It's an attractant. It tells the animals different things, predators or whatnot. So, absolutely, top secret will work. But now, before the rut, you're probably talking the peak of the rut, but the answer to your question is, and a simple answer to that is that top secret, you want to use top secret every day of the hunting season. Start with buck urine, use it every day of the year, and then once he starts chasing those does, add estrus. Don't put them together, just trail them in together. That way you got a buck chasing a doe. Use buck every day of the year, and grunt, and during season, if you hunt it every day, use buck urine, add estrus once he starts chasing that old girl. Then you use it all the way to the end of the season. Buck every day, once he starts chasing does, put the estrus together with it, and you use buck and estrus the balance of the season. Folks, do that, and you're going to have some great results this year as you hear these old boys calling in talking about what they're doing with Top Secret. Don't get left out, and listen, Top Secret, guys, we come up with that name for a reason, but it's not a top secret anymore. We're running an unbelievable amount of advertising on the Outdoor Channel, Sportsman's Channel, and Pursuit. It's something like 2.5 commercials an hour, 24/7, 7 days a week. Somebody asked us who we're telling. We're telling everybody, and that includes you. Get you some. Have a good year this year. Tell your friends, listen, it is Thursday night. It is 8 o'clock. They're fixing to shut this thing down. But we'll be back here next Thursday night, every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Tell your friends to call in. You can email, you can Facebook, you can Skype. We'll talk to you next Thursday night.